so I'm here with the Poly M Play because I was playing around a bit to try and figure out a really nice way of handling breakbeats on this thing. And from that I did a really nice track with some nice 3D visuals, like an ambient jungle style track. So I really enjoyed that, but I thought let's focus on the actual drum programming because I did some tricky things. I did some slicing on the DAW and then brought it into the Play and tried to recreate that sort of slice workflow on the Poly M Play and how to muck around with it. So if you haven't yet, there's a link down below in the description. Go there onto Poly M site and go download the breakbeat file, because what I've done is I've gone through a bunch of the more famous breakbeats like the Aim and Break and all them and process them for the Play. So get them installed and we'll get straight into it. Alright, we're here with the Poly M Play, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. So when you get the file, download it from the site and then put it in here. So I've separated out like some compressed ones as well as the clean ones. So they need to go into the sample packs folder, and then from there you can download and pull them in. So I've only just brought two in because it sort of explains one of the things, because 130 and 160 BPM, what happens if you got a 150? Like, one of the things that I like doing is pitching down the drum samples, so that allows me to stretch out the time to fill in the blank. So I'm probably going to do, say, a 150 BPM thing, so I might just pull in the 160. So I'm just going to go load pack. They're fairly small, so they don't take too much time to load, and there we go. So I'm just going to go back to the pattern view. So we can, like how the Play usually works, is I'm just going to create a beat fill and then pick one of the breaks, and then we select our files, fill. It sounds a little stucco, so this is where I start tweaking the tempo. So cool. Now that sounds really cool, and you can just work with them like this, but there's a little technique that I really enjoy making with my breaks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select over here, just so, like, I usually use this area as a working area and it'll become apparent. So I have these samples here, and with the folders, as you can see, there's the hat folder, there's the kick folder, and there's a snare folder, and that's how that fill tool works and brings it in. But I did create this break folder, because if we just scrub through here, you can hear that what we've done is we sliced up that sample to bring it in. So the way, or on trackers, or how breaks are pulled in, is you create the slices and you stack them up, and then you can shift around parts and create some really interesting patterns. So right now I'm going to program in that sort of slice. So I'm going to start from 1 and then 4, 5, 6, and I'll just keep going through until the whole section is filled up. And if we play this, what I might do is just so now we have all the slices ready to go. And like, I've only done 16 steps. You can come in here, extend it out and do the full 32. But this is like our little working file, so we can move that around. It's got a very choppy feel because it's like a little bit is missing between the two. Like if I was to raise the tempo here, take that up to 160. There's no gaps, but we can also, like, one thing I like to do is down pitch it. So I'm just going to select that, probably do the, we'll do the micro tune first. Just makes the drums feel a little thicker, and it's also filled in those gaps. So there's a couple of ways that we can do it. But now I have this working file with me. I did try and jury rig the Poly M Play to work, so you probably saw that HDM break there. That was me to try and bring all that information in, so we don't need to touch this. We can just go bang, load everything up. But just because it's in a break folder and not the drum folder, this is the way that I figured out how to do it, because once I've got that sort of pattern view right there, I can hold it, it'll flash, and then I can bring it over and copy it over that first pattern that I did. So now I've got a break sitting there. So how can we start mucking around with this? So like one of the things, like if you ever seen in a tracker, you change the position of the sample, and that was like the old way before they did the slices. So what I might do, deselect it, and I'm just going to select parts and bring it back. So what I might do is I'll select this part here, and then using the sample, I want to just make sure I've got sample selected, and then I can bring it back a couple of steps. And then we can do, maybe select those bits, maybe bring it a little bit forward. Now I probably want these ones to be drums, so I'm just going to hold that and bring it to a drum section, so maybe like a doof doof here. Cool, we've got something really interesting already. And yeah, like if we want to say create a second version of this, like what I can do is I'm just going to hold that and do that, and then bring it into that second one, come back, and maybe I just use the randomize function. So I'm just going to randomize sample and follow, so it's just going to pick those breaks, and then I can start turning that up. And that is just a really fast way to start just making a whole bunch of different breaks. And same thing again, I'm just going to hit save, so that's saved in there. And then we can use the chance tool to do that sort of sample randomization. So we can say randomize, say 50% of the time. Bit uncontrolled, so what I can also do is I'm just going to deselect those drum spots that I had. Probably drop it down. And just makes it a little bit more organic. So we can also do it so it'll play like, instead of doing that, we'll go to play 3. Actually, no, we'll go skip 3 and play 1. So we have like a nice 4/4. It's not going to do anything. Second time, it's going to play the same part. Third time. And then we'll change it up on that one. So we just extended that right out, and we only got that little bar going right there. So cool, but we can't really have a break beat without some repeats through it. So I'm just going to select a few different areas, the places where I didn't have the drums, and we can just go here and add some strip. And that creates a nice dynamic. We can, instead of doing it through here, like we can sort of do some conditional trigs. So let's say maybe something like play 2, skip 2. And let's, instead of doing random sample, we'll do random notes, random repeat. That's the one I'm looking for, that one. So now if I play it, they won't have any repeats. And then we'll choose between the different repeats. So just creating some more organic, like this is what I really enjoy about the Polyend Play, is that it's got these generative sort of algorithms, and if you just leave them running, it just creates new dynamic sort of drum loops and that. And when you start doing sort of breakbeat stuff, it's like that really helps with the sound in the background. So we have some other effects that we can do, like the reverb, delay, overdrive, like adding a bit of overdrive to any sort of breakbeat. Just makes it a lot more crunchy. We can like sort of bring it back to like get those old school breakbeats going. But let's like leave that there, and then I want to create more of a fuller drum break, so I could create like a loop and just keep it looping with the bass line and all that going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back into this pattern view, and I'm probably going to use this section here. So what I might do, just go have it so it copies, and then I can paste it out a few times. So paste, paste, paste. So then if I go shift, play, it's going to start there and then work its way through. And then I might keep these two to the same, but to extend it out, I might add some effects on here and at this part here. So I might select this one, go back into the pattern and say, let's, instead of selecting everything, I'll just select this part here. We can choose the sample end length, or we can add a bit of delay. So I might try a delay first. Sounds so wonderful. And just like creates a bit of the variance, and then it comes back in a bit stronger. So maybe not too much. Just something that's a little bit more, and then we can like create, say we'll add some high pass to it. So we'll add a So I've just done that one, and let's think of some other way to get some more variance going. So what I might do, come into this one and just make it really crazy. Like I'm going to use the chance on this last section here, and if it's like showing the squiggly line, you can scrub it all the way and it's just going to knock all the variables into one position. So what I might do is I'm just going to say always. Let's have a look at what we can do. Maybe random sample. That's probably a bit chaotic. What else can we do here? Yeah. So if we were to play our little pattern fully, so I'm just going to start here, shift. So it was really cool and dynamic compared to what we had from just starting with like a basic sort of stepping through the sequences. So I hope that's given you a bit of food for thought, because really that's just scratching the surface of this. Like you can mix a couple of different breaks together to get different slices to make different grooves. You can overlay that break fill that the Poly-N does with some other drum samples to create like a more fuller drum and bass style, and you use that slice in the background to create like that ambient texture. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can muck around with this. So I hope you found this one interesting and helpful. And if you did, definitely give it that thumbs up, because it tells the algorithm to point this to other people that probably want to do some like drum programming on here and get the full amount out of it. And if you have any comments or queries or anything you want to add to that file, definitely leave them down below in a comment. I do go through them and it helps out with what I work on next. So in the end, I hope you did enjoy this one, and I look forward to seeing you next time.